because I think that's gonna be key to making this work. You know, this isn't gonna be a product we probably sell truckloads of, but it's gonna be something kind of like Collections Infinities was for Scentiva, that it's an attention getter and it has places for it, right? And so October 15th is about when this is gonna launch, and the visualizer should be up online by then. When we do that, you will have the option to have kind of predicated patterns that you can say, I like this visual or this visual or this visual, and you'll pick your shape, then you'll pick which visual you want in it, and then you'll just literally click on a standard color and say go, standard color, go,
So
standard
all
color,
of
go.
the shapes are not intended to work together
No.
necessarily? Okay.
No.
You use one shape at a time?
Correct, because geometrically it just
Right.
doesn't work.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if any of the distances were
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, and like the angles are different on all of them. So,
And
and then
relieved
there,
to hear that from the installers.
yeah, exactly. So then there will be also a second option on visualization where you can totally customize it and start from scratch and make it your own design. So when I was talking about like starting in an entry and ombreing to something, that would obviously be you wanting to design that. So anyway, so that is the Pentagonal series. So with that, we're going to be coming out with some different textures. Those will be also out in October. I don't have them right now except for one, but I do like to kind of show the old hammered with this one. So we're coming out with one of them, which I think is going to be the most popular. It's called Forge, and it's a mini hammered texture. Let me pass that around. It's about a quarter of the scale as our standard hammered texture. I think it takes the sheen level down a lot, because to me sometimes when I see the hammered texture, it takes away from the visual of the material. Like, I don't think you can see it on any of these. Sometimes, especially on our metallic, on our metallurgy tiles, you can really tell. Actually, I do have an example of that. I think this is actually the very same visual. So these are the same visual. It's just a different texture. So the texture makes a huge difference. So I think when you see the hammered texture, I customized to do the leather, but when you have the hammered texture, to me, it argues with the color and the variation on that visual. Yeah.
So Annie, can you just explain one more time the time frame of the it's the thinner texture, I guess?
October 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, all the rubber is supposed to be out October 15th. So with that forged texture that's coming out, we've got 3 more. We've got one that's a wood grain texture. I think we can all envision. They're all pretty easy to figure out what they might look like. We have one that's a woven, so it's a fairly tight, subtle weave, very consistent. And then we have a linen texture, which is a little larger scale and has a little bit of a slub, a little more inconsistent. So those will all be out around October 15th. So I'm going to dismantle my display a little bit to show you this next one. So this here is Organics. Lift it up. I'm going to scoot under you. Oh, no, you're good. This is Organics. So Organics has been about a year in the making. Organics was a mistake that we made into a product. So that's always kind of a fun story. So they were about a year and 3 months ago, they were cleaning out the rubber machines in our Middlefield, Ohio plant, and they pulled out a big piece that had gotten kind of stuck in there, and it looked something like this. Not probably this color or anything, probably, some colors you'd never buy, but the visual was something like this. And so they called our design director, and Jeanette came down, and she's like, I love it. How can we actually have it made consistently? So it took about a year to figure that out. This isn't even in our inspiration guide because it didn't make it, because we weren't sure it was going to make it for Neocon. So this is Organics. What it is obviously it's a stone visual. It's a lot like, are you guys familiar with Minerality, our Minerality visual, which is, it's kind of a stone look, but it's a little stripy rubber. And so it is taking that Minerality visual a little bit. It's almost like you stretched it and randomized it a little more and made it a little less consistent and predictable, more like natural stone or slate. So when I got a carton of these for Post Neocon, some were really beautiful like this one. Some were pretty solid. Some were really wild. And so no two are ever going to be alike. So it does give you really that very large scale again, I think the application's similar to Pentagonals. It just depends on what kind of look and visual and design details you're looking at. But again, this is gonna give you kind of a stone look with the consistency and all of, not consistency, but all of the characteristics of a rubber product and all of those advantages.
And is that 2x2?
I believe it says, yeah.
Really cool.
Will it come in the new finishes, the wood finish and the?
I think this one's standard. I think it's like all of our rubber. So in our product guide, we show we have a matrix at the very front of the new rubber section.